Hello everyone, welcome to the first lecture of CA Inter Audit regular course, 100% English version. Yes, you have enrolled for 100% English delivery and we are into CA Inter Auditing and Assurance subject. So when I talk about this subject, auditing and assurance, what do you understand by this subject? Little bit, you would have heard from everyone what is this subject all about. All right. So you know that a practicing chartered accountant, when you will become a chartered accountant, and I am so sure that you will become a chartered accountant very, very soon. So a practicing chartered accountant provides various services to the client. So come on, if I want to ask you that a practicing chartered accountant provides which services, then you are going to name so many services. But let me give you a shortcut to remember. Whenever someone asks you that a practicing chartered accountant provides which services, tell them practicing chartered accountant provides ATM. Yes. The whole practice life, in your whole practicing life, you will be providing assurance services, taxation services. See, for first few minutes, I'm not going to talk about technical stuff of this subject. First few minutes, let us understand what is this subject all about. All right. So a practicing chartered accountant provides assurance services, taxation services, and M for management consultancy services. All right. Sir, everyone understands taxation services. For you, tax subject is like, oh, taxation subject, my God. All right. So you know that taxation consultancy is given by practicing chartered accountants. Other consultancy services, how to grow your business, what should be the cost of production, and all of that is also given by practicing chartered accountants. However, the most remunerative service and the most important service, which increases the value of our signature, is assurance services. Yes, sir. What is the meaning of this word assurance service? Very simple. So our client will give us the data, whatever be that data. For example, let us say financial statements or books of accounts. All right. Then whatever data is given by the client, we will examine that data. As a practicing chartered accountant, I will examine the data and I will express an opinion in a particular report. So my client will give me the data, I will examine the data, and I will express an opinion in a report. One more time. My client will give me the data, I will examine that data, and I will express an opinion in a particular report. Now this report will be relied upon, means who is going to see this report? Clients, stakeholders, like bank. Who are the users of the financial statements? Bank, shareholders, yeah. Then management itself, all right. And then so many people, lenders, financial institutions, government. All of them will look at this report and they will trust the report because it is signed by a practicing chartered accountant. And that exactly is the meaning of the word assurance service. What do you understand by the word assurance? Trust. So my client is going to give me the data. I'm going to examine that data. I will express an opinion in the report, and that report will be relied upon by various stakeholders of the client. And then people will trust that report. And based upon that, client is going to get the investments. Client is going to be able to run the business. And this service which a practicing chartered accountant provides, where he acts like an examiner, that is called as assurance services. Hello, myself CA Pragnesh Kanabar. You have enrolled for Inter CA Audit regular course in 100% English. Just give me 1 minute to explain about myself. So I am into this teaching industry for about 10 years. I'm going to complete my 10th year very soon. If I talk about number of hours experience, then for every single year, I have taught for not less than 2,500 hours on an average. So by number of hours, I'm a highly experienced professor. Don't worry about it. My students have scored All India first in audit at CA final and CA inter level both. There are verified feedbacks on my YouTube channel. You can see it from there. I don't want to talk too much about myself, because if you are looking at this video, then obviously, and if you're attending the session, then you would have done a little bit of research about myself. But however, it is very important to give you 1 minute profile. And I am going to teach you your audit subject. And trust me, we will target nothing less than an exemption. And what does an exemption mean? Minimum 60 plus. All right. So I was talking about the services which a practicing chartered accountant provides. Whenever someone asks you, what does a practicing chartered accountant do? Then tell them ATM, assurance, taxation, and management consultancy service. And our subject deals with assurance services. What do you understand by assurance service? Client is going to give the data. I am going to examine that data. I will express an opinion in a particular report, and that report will be relied upon by the stakeholders of the client. And then people will take their decisions based upon my report, because my report provides them assurance. That is nothing but what? Trust. Now let us talk about auditing service. So in India, Parliament has given power to practicing chartered accountants. Yes, exclusive power has been given to practicing chartered accountants to examine the financial statements of the companies, not only companies, many other entities, and express an opinion on those financial statements. And based upon our opinion, government will trust the report. So what we are providing is nothing but what? Assurance. And this power, where we are examining the financial statements, expressing an opinion, and providing a report with our signature. That is why our Honorable Prime Minister says that your signature is more powerful than my signature. And this particular service is nothing but what? Auditing. Where I'm going to examine the financial statements, express an opinion, and provide an assurance. Come on, everyone, say it with me. I'm going to examine the financial statements, express an opinion, and provide an assurance. And that is exactly what you are going to study in this subject of auditing. It is the statutory right as well as duty of a practicing chartered accountant. Students, you know what? How you can judge yourself that whether you have understood this subject or not? When the day comes when you are able to understand Reliance Industries Limited audit report, this will be your final conclusion. The day you are able to understand this particular audit report, and trust me, I promise it, every single student will be able to understand this. So what is this audit report? Practicing chartered accountant who has been appointed by Reliance Industries Limited has examined the financial statements of Reliance Industries Limited. And he is providing his opinion. Look at this. He is providing his opinion. And based upon this audit report, the shareholders will trust the profit figures of Reliance Industries Limited. The government, the management, the lenders, the bankers, the foreign investors, everyone will trust the audited figures of Reliance Industries Limited, and then they will decide whether to invest in this company or not. And this opinion, which provides trust, is nothing but your subject, auditing and assurance. The day you understand this full audit report, and trust me, I will bring you to that level when you understand this full audit report. At that day, on that day, you can say it with confidence that yes, my audit subject is over. So tell me, everyone, what will be your final objective in audit subject? To understand the full audit report of Reliance Industries Limited. So come on, what have you understood in this 5-10 minutes? What have you understood? That, sir, tell me, auditing is an examination of financial statements. Come on, everyone with me. Auditing is an examination of financial statements with a purpose to express an opinion. Come on, one more time. Auditing is an examination of financial statements with a purpose to express an opinion. But tell me, have you seen 3 Idiots movie? Anyone? Have you seen 3 Idiots movie? Yeah. So there was this Chatur and there was Rancho. All right. And there was a comparison between Rancho learning and Rancho having a grip over the concepts, whereas Chatur having a grip over the language. Correct. Tell me, in Indian education system, can you top score only by being a Rancho? Can you top score only by being a rancho? No. Tell me, in Indian education system, can you top score only by being chatur? No. So everyone has to be a combination of rancho and chatur. Tell me, everyone, have you heard about this Three Idiots movie? Yes. So everyone has to be a combination of rancho and chatur. That means you will understand concepts like rancho, but when you are in exams, you will write like chatur. All right. So come on, everyone. Understand like rancho, write like chatur. Understand like rancho, write like chatur. So tell me the rancho meaning of audit. We are done with that. So auditing is an examination of financial statements with a view to express an opinion. But only by these two lines will you score marks in exams? No, sir. And that is why it is important to do the chatur definition of audit. Okay. So everyone, forget about the subject, forget about the syllabus, forget about paper pattern. All of that I will talk about after some time. Correct. But first of all, we need to do the meaning of audit subject in a technical language. All right. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Please take the fresh page in your notebook. Please take a fresh page in your notebook. Because this is a regular course, we will be doing a lot of writing practice. Okay. So please take a fresh page in your notebook and write down, everyone, chapter 1. Forget about the syllabus and paper and study material. Everything I will explain later on. First, you should know some concepts so that I can discuss the syllabus with you. All right. So everyone, please take a fresh page and write down chapter 1. Nature, scope, and objectives of the audit of financial statements. So we are going to do some basic concepts: nature, scope, and objectives of the audit of financial statements. Okay. Fine. So there you will write down little bit introduction. Okay. Then we will start. Introduction. Okay. Right now. Practicing chartered accountant provides various services. Practicing chartered accountant provides various services under, see, which is the law that is the Bible, Gita, Quran, everything for a chartered accountant? Chartered Accountants Act 1949. All right. So whatever we do it under Chartered Accountants Act 1949. So practicing chartered accountant provides various services under Chartered Accountants Act 1949. Namely, if just to name a few: ATM, assurance, taxation, and management consultancy services. Come on, come on, come on. The more you write, the more grip you will develop. We will be doing a lot of writing practice in this course. So practicing chartered accountant provides various services under CA Act, namely ATM, assurance, taxation, and management consultancy services. Then write down next line. Auditing is an assurance activity. Auditing is an assurance activity. That is, just to say it in different words, we examine the financial statements and books of accounts of the client and express an opinion in our audit report. Auditing is an assurance activity. That is, we examine the financial statements and books of accounts of the client and express an opinion in our audit report. Okay. Fine. Now, this is what you have written, just a normal meaning of audit subject, correct? But we need to understand like Rancho, but write like Chatur. All right. So we will be officially doing the definition of audit subject. So leave one line and write down point number 1. So this is the first concept under this chapter that we are doing. Write down definition of audit. Definition of audit. Okay. Now tell me everyone, let us link it with practical life. So this Reliance Industries Limited audit report. Tell me, now this is signed by a particular chartered accountant. Okay. Over here. So it is signed by chartered accountant. Now tell me if this person, Vikas Kumar Pansari, tell me if this person is a relative of Ambani family. Will you trust this particular audit report? Yes or no, sir? No, sir. No, sir. Why? Sir, even though he may be a chartered accountant, but that person is not independent. Tell me, if your mark sheet is signed by your parents, will I trust that mark sheet? No, sir. Because they are influenced people. All right. They will get influenced by you. So tell me, everyone, auditing is not just an examination. It is an independent examination. Come on, come with me. Auditing is an independent examination because the examination needs to be done by a person who will not be influenced by the client. All right. And don't worry, there are laws in place for this to ensure that this person is not influenced by the client. There are so many restrictions in Companies Act 2013. So don't worry about it. But everyone agrees with me that auditing is an independent examination and not just an examination. Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. So one line is very clear, that auditing is an independent examination. Acha, independent examination. Independent means uninfluenced. Okay. Independent examination of what? Of my wedding card? No. Of the financial statements of an entity. Okay. So next line is so simple. Down arrow of financial information of an entity. Financial information of an entity. Okay. Now listen. Whether you are examining the financial statements of Reliance Industries Limited, or you are examining the financial statements of Tirupati Balaji Trust, or you are examining financial statements of my small entity, the Audit Academy, no matter whichever entity's financial statements you are examining, your purpose is the same. What is your purpose? To examine the financial statements and express an opinion. So whether the entity is small or is large, whether the entity is a company, partnership firm, trust, whatever it is, your purpose is the same, to express an opinion. All right. So this entity could be any entity. All right. Whether profit oriented or not. Whether profit oriented or not. Irrespective of its size or legal form. Irrespective of its size or legal form. No matter whichever entity you are auditing, does not matter. Your purpose is the same. What is your purpose? To express an opinion. All right. So your purpose is the same. With a view to express an opinion thereon. with a view to express an opinion thereon. So come on, everyone with me. At once, you will say the full definition. Auditing is an independent examination. Come on, everyone with me. Auditing is an independent examination of financial information of an entity. Entity, whether profit-oriented or not, irrespective of its size or legal form. When such an examination is conducted with a view to express an opinion thereon. Now, this is the technical definition of audit subject, of the word auditing. Sir, but where is this definition given? Inter-SEM module. But from there also, from where they have taken the definition? It could be some section of some law. No. Auditing definition is given in the auditing pronouncements. Sir, what is this, sir? Listen, you have in accounts, you have accounting standards. Technically, they are called as accounting pronouncements. Similarly, in audit, we have auditing standards. They are called as auditing pronouncements, correct? So this definition of audit is as per auditing pronouncements. What is this auditing pronouncements? It is nothing but auditing standards which are given by the ICAI, which we are going to cover in the syllabus as per auditing pronouncements. Okay. So one more time, last time, please. Yes, pronouncements is equal to standards. All right. So one more time, last time. Auditing is an independent examination of financial information of an entity, whether profit-oriented or not, irrespective of its size or legal form, when such an examination is conducted with a view to express an opinion thereon. Now listen to me. First of all, everyone give me the confirmation. Are you clear with the definition? Yes. Yes, come on. Only if you take interest, you will enjoy this subject. You will always find me with full of energy, but you need to enjoy this subject. Okay. Forget about all the fears and stuff. I will ensure you get an exemption. Don't worry about it, but keep on following my instructions. Okay. Now listen. Let me talk a little bit about your paper pattern. All right. Dinesh, that one line I say it orally. I don't write it over here. We do it in the textbook. Okay. Now let me talk about the paper pattern. Okay. So in your paper pattern, Achha, I will give all of this in writing. Don't worry. Okay. In the paper pattern, okay, you know that you will be having MCQs of 30 marks and descriptive question of 70 marks. In that descriptive questions, brief answers of 70 marks also, you have correct, incorrect of how many marks? 14 marks. All right. So around 44 marks paper is such which is 100% scoring. Out of this 44, how much should you target? Minimum, how much should you target? Come on, everyone type it in the chat box. How much should you target from this 44? All right. Come on, come on, come on. How much? Yes. 40, 38, 36. Very good. 44. Nothing less than 44. In this 44, we have to target full 44. Come on, increase your hunger in audit subject, man. All right. Everyone in costing accounts and FM, they are like, sir, when we are writing the decimals, we need to write it up to third decimal or fourth decimal. Yeah. Look at the level of doubts of people in audit, in accounts, costing, FM subject. And you know what are the doubts in audit subject? Sir, suppose if we don't remember the answer, but if we remember the reference of standard, then are we going to get marks? Increase your hunger, man. Some students are writing out of 44, 40, 38. No, it has to be 44 on 44. Okay. So I'm talking about this 14 marks. All right. There is one question of correct or incorrect of 2 marks, which has been asked repeatedly. See, whenever I teach you any concept, I will also talk about the question answers of that concept. Otherwise, what happens, professors also keep on taking lectures. Students also keep on attending. Then no one has idea about the questions which will be asked. So continuously, I will be talking about the questions. Listen to me. Whenever I talk about MCQ question, I will write M besides the point in the textbook. Okay. Whenever there is a brief question of 4 marks, 3 marks, I will write B. And whenever there is correct, incorrect, then I will type C. All right. Okay. So in some paragraphs are such which are MC. So what is this? First lecture, what is this MC? That means in some paragraphs you can expect MCQ as well as correct, incorrect. Some paragraphs are such which are BC. All right. Where you can expect brief answers as well as correct, incorrect. All right. So you have to focus on the MCBC, which I'll be doing in the lectures. That means where there is MCQ, where there is correct, incorrect, and where there are brief answers. Okay. So from today, the meaning of MCBC changes for you. Okay. So listen to me, everyone over here. Now, in this full point that you've written, there is one C, that is correct or incorrect. I am writing one line. Tell me whether this statement is correct or incorrect. Okay. You can also leave one line and then write down. Objective of audit changes as per the size, nature, and complexity of the entity. Tell me, this is C for correct or I for incorrect? Is this C for correct or I for incorrect? The answer is incorrect. Because no matter whichever entity you are auditing, the objective will never change. The objective will always remain to express an opinion on the financial statements. All right. So this is your 2 marks. Now, how do you answer correct, incorrect? See, slowly, steadily, when we go ahead in the lectures, you will learn all the techniques. Don't worry about it. So, all right. Whenever we are answering correct, incorrect, we write and was this statement is incorrect. Okay. And then we write the reasons. Because you will always have to write reasons in short. What is the reason? You have to just copy the definition of audit. Okay. Don't write again the whole definition. You can just write down in the square bracket definition of audit. So in the reasons, you will write that auditing is an independent examination of financial information of an entity, whether profit oriented or not, irrespective of its size or legal form, with a view to express an opinion thereon. All right. Yes, sir. Okay. So this is your definition of audit. Now tell me, everyone. There are few lines which you should never forget in audit subject. Now, what I'm going to teach is the hall ticket for entering audit exams. All right. So everyone stay focused. Tell me, nowadays, there is so much debate going on in the corporate world that whenever there is a fraud in the financial statements, people just catch the auditor. That you are supposed to examine the financial statements. These companies, they submitted wrong financial statements. They submitted manipulated financial statements. You should have identified the fraud. Fraudulent auditor, come on, we will terminate your CA degree. My God. No, you see, since so many years, whenever there is a fraud in the financial statements, people want to catch the auditor. Today, we will make some arguments upon that. Very interesting, everyone. So tell me, who is the person preparing the financial statements? Boss, as an auditor, we are just going to examine the financial statements. Tell me, in exams, is it the examiner who writes the answers or checks the answer? Sir, examiner is going to check the answer. Who is going to write the answer? Student. So similarly, if I talk about X Limited, who is going to prepare the financial statements of X Limited? M for management of X Limited or A for auditor of X Limited? Who is going to prepare the financial statements of X Limited? Obviously, M for management. All right. So management is the one who prepares and presents the financial statements. So if something goes wrong in the financial statements, who should be the first person who will be held liable? Management. First, catch the collar of management. Don't straight away catch the collar of auditor. Management is for sure liable for errors and frauds in the financial statements. Tell me, what do you think? Auditor is a James Bond or what? Auditor is some kind of detective over there. He is just going to professionally examine the financial statements. So listen, what will be the attitude of the auditor? All right. So I am the auditor, you are the management. Okay. I will take the financial statements from you. Let us say you are in running some manufacturing entity. Okay? I will take the financial statements from you. I will go to the inventory figure. Inventory 31st March, 10 lakh rupees. Can you please take me to the go down so that I can verify the inventory? I did some physical verification. Okay. What is the cost of inventory? Okay. What is the net realizable value? Okay. So cost or NRV, whichever is lower. Okay. I saw that. I saw the finished goods, raw material, work in progress, everything, all the classification and stuff I've seen. And there was nothing which developed the doubt. Right? So boss, I went ahead and I said that, okay, these financial statements are fine. There is no issue. Just giving an example. But let us say when I went for physical verification of inventory, and if I found that the physical stock is not tallying with the accounts, and if there is something that will raise the doubt, then I will investigate further. Na? So boss, auditor is not going to investigate unless there are some doubts which he develops. He is not an investigator. He is not a person from CBI. He is not James Bond over here. For example, if you are a construction person, construction industry, I'm not going to act in this manner. Yeah, you have a construction company, no? Builder. Builder means full of corruption only. Builder is full of corruption only. Where is the black money? Swiss bank? Come on, tell me. Arre, that client will hit you like anything. So I am going to be a professional person. I am not going to develop unnecessary doubts. But if there is a doubt which is genuine, then I will investigate further. Because tell me, as an auditor, my main duty is option A, to examine the financial statements and express an opinion, or option B, to find out the fraud. Come on, tell me, what is my duty as an auditor? Option A, to examine the financial statements and express an opinion, and or option B, to detect the fraud. Of course, my duty is option A, to examine the financial statements and express an opinion. Okay, while doing that, if there is something that creates suspicion, doubt, if there is something that creates doubt, then I will investigate further. So never forget this line, that auditor's main duty is to express an opinion on the financial statements. While doing that examination, if auditor comes across something suspicious, then he will investigate further. He cannot start with the impression that there is a fraud. He cannot start with an assumption that there is a fraud. All right. However, whenever there is an investigation by the ICAI, by central government, by RBI, by SEBI, and if there is evidence that auditor was careless, if there is evidence that auditor was careless, then for sure he will be held liable. Students, let me give you one practical example of this. You can Google it also. Search for two auditors. One is IL&FS company auditors, and second is Amrapali real estate company auditors. In both of these cases, it has been proven that auditor was careless in performing his duties. I will give you an example. Tell me, if I am borrowing funds from the public, let us say I'm a finance company. I'm a finance company. If I am borrowing funds from the public, if I'm borrowing funds from the public at 9%, okay, and I am lending those funds at 7%. Don't you think that that should create some doubt in your mind? Yes or no, sir? Yes or no, sir? If I am borrowing funds at 9% and lending at 7%, don't you think that should create some doubt? Yes. Achha, let me give you one more example. Let us say that the company has slipped from profits to losses, And what if the managerial remuneration, which is given to the director, CEO, CFO, increases? So the profits are declining, but the remuneration of directors, CEO, CFO is increasing. Don't you think even that should create a doubt? Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. Now, these were the findings in the fraud of IL and FS company, which is a finance company. There it was found out, it was proven that auditors were careless. And once it is proven that auditor is careless, only then auditor can be held liable for fraud. In fact, if you search for Amrapali real estate auditors, students, just now, I think around 2 weeks back, there was a notification and their chartered accountancy degree has been terminated by the ICAI. Why? Not because auditors were, not because auditors' main duty was to find out fraud, but if it is proven that auditors were careless, they could have easily detected it. Then in that case, you will be held liable. Listen, I am not expecting you to find out a small needle in this room. Correct. But if there is an elephant in the room, you need to find it out. You can't say, oh my God, I can't see the elephant in the room. My God, an elephant in the room, you are supposed to find it out. So you are going to write the most important 5 statements in audit subject, which will give you the real picture of audit subject. I will make you write those statements. And then again, I will ask you whether there is any doubt or not. And then you can ask me the doubts. All right. So everyone, leave one line and write down the most important 5 lines in audit subject. Leave one line and then write down. Everyone, please write down this. Fundamental points in audit of financial statements. Never forget these lines. Now, these lines are not exactly given it at one place in the module, but the whole subject depends upon this. All right. Fundamental points in audit of financial statements. Very, very important. Okay. On every single point, you will give me the confirmation whether you've understood or not. First, preparation and presentation of financial statements is the responsibility of management. Second, prevention and detection of fraud and error is the primary responsibility of the management. Sir, why you have written this word primary responsibility? See, I'm not saying that it is not auditor's responsibility, but it is auditor's secondary duty. So if there is a copy case in exam, someone has copied, first the student will be held liable. All right. Then examiner will also be questioned that why he could not detect that copy case. Correct? But first the student will be held liable. So primary responsibility will always be of the one who is preparing the financial statements. So prevention, detection of fraud and error is the primary responsibility of the management. Okay. Third, what is auditor's main duty? To express an opinion. Auditor's primary duty is to express an opinion on the financial statements. Auditor's primary duty is to express an opinion on the financial statements after examination of such financial statements. Auditor's primary duty is to express an opinion on the financial statements after examination of such financial statements. Okay. Fourth, let us talk about the attitude of the auditor. So I am conducting audit of a construction company. Builder, corruption, fraud. You have, stacked your black money where? Come on. I am not going to talk in this manner. Correct? Builder, financial statements, examining the financial statements. Okay, builder, there is a suspense account over here. Now you need to tell me and about this. Suppose if there is some suspicion, if there's some doubt, all right, then you go ahead. Now, in 19th century and in the early 20th century, there were some really good cases in UK, England, all right, because we were all obviously busy fighting our freedom, correct? So there the industrial revolution had begun and there were some really good cases over there where it was decided what will be the auditor's responsibility. So in one of those cases, in Kingston Cotton Mills Company and then London Bank, in these cases, the judges of these cases, they gave a very good line. All right. They said that, write down everyone, auditor is a watchdog and not a bloodhound. I am an animal who is like a watchdog, not just, sucking your blood without any reason. So I am not a predator. I am a watchdog. If something is suspicious, then I will bark. Unnecessarily, I will not suck the blood out of you. So auditor is a watchdog and not a bloodhound. Full stop, continue. It means auditor functions with a questioning mind. So dog is going to smell, is going to roam around. Unnecessarily is not going to bark and bite you. So I'm going to function with a questioning mind. All right. And not a suspicious mind. It means auditor functions with a questioning mind and not a suspicious mind. Unnecessarily, I'm not going to doubt upon you. Right? It further means that auditor needs to maintain an attitude of, auditor needs to maintain an attitude of the most important word in audit subject. So there are around 20 to 25 words which are very important, and this is one of them. Auditor needs to maintain an attitude of professional skepticism. So what is the meaning of the word professional skepticism? Questioning mind and maintaining alertness. Auditor needs to maintain an attitude of professional skepticism, that is questioning mind and maintaining alertness throughout the audit. Throughout the audit, you need to maintain an attitude of professional skepticism, questioning mind and maintaining alertness. Okay. Just to write one more line on this, it means auditor will investigate if there is an evidence indicating an error or fraud. If there is some evidence which indicates that there is an error or fraud, then I'm going to investigate further. So yes, I do verify the financial statements and books of accounts with one or two evidences. Like for example, when it comes to purchases, I will see purchase order, purchase invoice, payment to supplier, goods inward, all of that I'm going to see. And if there is something that does not tally over there, then I'm going to investigate further. All right. Okay. I want a confirmation. Have you written the fourth point? Yes. And have you understood that? Yes. Okay. So what is the final conclusion? That boss, therefore, auditor cannot be held liable for fraud in the financial statements. Auditor straight away cannot be held liable for fraud in the financial statements. Unless it is proved if it is proved, like I gave you practical life examples of ILNFS case, Amrapali real estate auditors, correct? So if it is proved, unless it is proved that auditor was, if it is proved that I was careless. Now, what is the English word for careless? Gross negligence. What is the English word of careless? Gross negligence. So unless it is proved that auditor was grossly negligent, in the performance of his duties. Unless it is proved that auditor was grossly negligent in the performance of his duties. So nowadays, from here on, if anyone is questioning you, nowadays auditors are committing so much of fraud, auditor is very fraudulent person, tell them that boss, presentation of financial statement is the responsibility of management of the entity. Prevention and detection of fraud and error is the primary responsibility of management. Auditor's primary duty is to express an opinion on the financial statements after examination of such financial statements. Auditor is a watchdog and not a bloodhound. It means auditor functions with a questioning mind and not a suspicious mind. It means that auditor needs to maintain an attitude of professional skepticism throughout the audit. Only if there is some evidence, then he's going to investigate further that particular error or fraud. And listen, auditor cannot be held liable for fraud in the financial statements unless it is proved that auditor was grossly negligent in the performance of his duties. So if someone is able to prove that auditor was grossly negligent in the performance of his duties, then auditor can be held liable, otherwise not. And the latest example, just a couple of weeks back in December 2022, I think second or third week of December 22, if I'm not wrong, it is I think second week, yes, when the judgment came out, when Amrapali real estate auditors and other 8 chartered accountants were terminated, their membership was taken away because it was proved that auditor was grossly negligent in the performance of his duties. I want a confirmation. Is everyone clear with these 5 lines? Yes or no, sir? Never forget this in audit subject. Fundamental points in audit of financial statements. Never forget this. Only then you can move ahead. Okay. So listen. Just to give you concept now. When it comes to, this is just a conceptual line. Huh? When it comes to objective of audit of financial statements, if someone is asking you the word objective, means what is the purpose? Why? Then what is the main purpose of audit of financial statements? Sir, to earn money. To express an opinion on the financial statements. Okay? But tell me, when I'm doing that job of expressing an opinion on the financial statements, if I come across something that is suspicious, then can I say I will investigate further? That means the secondary objective of audit, one more time, the secondary objective of audit, not the main, the derived secondary objective is to prevent and detect fraud and error. Are you convinced with this particular explanation? Yes. So when I talk about objective of audit of financial statement, the primary main objective is to examine the financial statements, and express an opinion. Whereas the secondary derived, or just another English word, incidental. That means it is not main, but it is derived. All right. Objective is to prevent and detect fraud and error in the financial statements. You can just leave one line and write down this. Because you know what? This particular line has been asked multiple times for 2 marks, correct or incorrect. That boss, it is the secondary, derived, incidental objective to prevent and detect fraud and error. I'll tell you what they've written. The incidental objective of auditing is to express an opinion. No, incorrect. That is the primary objective, not just incidental. But whereas the incidental, secondary, derived objective is to prevent and detect fraud and error. Now, what happens in audit subject? You may be very good in normal English of chatting and stuff. All right. But in audit, you have to learn its vocabulary, a little bit of its English. Audit vocabulary is different from normal Oxford dictionary. Okay? So you have to learn a little bit of audit vocabulary so that you are able to crack the questions. Okay? Okay. Now what we will do is we will go to the textbook and see these points. All right. So that we feel more confident. Okay. Now everyone, look at this. Sir, can you brief us about your study material and stuff? Everything of the ICAI module is covered, content, question bank, past questions, this, that, everything. Don't worry about it. So there are 2 books. One is content, other one is question bank. All right. And everything is covered in that. But as of now, I don't want to go on that line. Otherwise, what will happen is we will forget what we did it in the notes. Correct. So let us straight away come to the books. Chapter 1, nature, scope, and objectives of audit. Okay. Just 1 or 2 points we are going to do it from here. First, meaning and definition of audit. Meaning and definition. Auditing is an independent examination of financial information of any entity, whether profit oriented or not, and irrespective of its size or legal form, when such an examination is conducted with a view to express an opinion thereon. All right. So not a problem. This particular line, you can refer it from the notes. Listen, this is my specialty. Sometimes what happens, professors, they give textbook also, they give notes also. Then during the exams, students are confused. Sir, what to do now? My God, whether we are supposed to do it from the textbook or notes. So whichever points are supposed to be done from the notes, that I will give you like this, 1.1, do it from the notes. All right. And the points which are to be done from the textbook, that will do it from the textbook. So it means besides any point, if I have not written notes, that means you have to do that point from the textbook. I want a confirmation. Are you clear with this? Yes. Sir, what about last day strategy? Sir, what about revision lectures? Sir, if you are connected with me on my YouTube channel and my Telegram channel, then I have already given revision videos also. I have already given a lot of content to the students, correct? So don't worry. You will be getting everything till the day of your exams. I'm there with you. Relax. Okay. WhatsApp doubt solving, personalized attention, everything is there. But provided you are in touch with me. If you are not in touch with me, I can't do anything. All right. Okay. I am one of the rare professor who takes such kind of, live lectures after every 2 months or so. Otherwise, nowadays, professors are recording the videos and uploading it everywhere. Right? So don't worry. I'm always available. Okay. First, definition of audit, you will do it from the notes. Okay. Now, if you have noticed your papers, exam papers, it is very important to understand the last line of the question, because that exactly is the trigger of the answer. First 3-4 lines is normally time pass. In a case study based question, 3-4 lines are also important. But otherwise, in a theory question, first 3-4 lines are time pass. You have to focus on the last line of the question. All right. Now, sometimes they will put up such kind of question. Look at this. Explain the definition of audit. And then they will just ask you to elaborate it. The person conducting this task should take care to ensure that financial statements would not mislead anybody. This he can do honestly by satisfying himself that. Okay. Underline the word task. So what they will do is, they will ask you the definition of audit. And then they will say, what are the tasks to be performed by the auditor to ensure that financial statements are not misleading? Tell me, everyone. This you can write even on your own. We will do the module points, but you can write even on your own. Tell me, can I say auditor will have to examine the books of accounts? Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. In order to examine the books of accounts, tell me, auditor will require the evidence. For purchase, he will require purchase invoice. For sales, he will require sales invoice. Yes. Then tell me, auditor should also have the knowledge of accounting standards. Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. So you can easily write few points on your own, but let us see what points they have written. All right. Now listen to me. Whenever we are doing brief answers, now this is a brief answer of 4 marks. Tell me, in your paper, if you have seen the papers, May 22, November 22, correct? You will see that brief answers, the weightage is either 4 marks or 3 marks. Sometimes there is a weightage of 5 marks. Otherwise, 4 marks, 3 marks, 4 marks, 3 marks. This is what we see. All right. Now, in a brief answer of 4 marks, now look at this: A, B, C, D, E, F. There are 5, 6, 7 points, or 6 points, correct? Now, if you go to the marking scheme of the ICAI, I'm not talking about suggested answers. I'm talking about the marking scheme, which they give to their examiners, correct? There, what they will do is, they will type this 6 points, and they will say, if student has written any 4, then give them 4 marks. Are you hearing me loud and clear? Yes. So what will happen is that whenever you see 5 or 6 points in a particular answer, you are never supposed to by heart all the points. In fact, let me give you one technique. Tell me, beta. MCQs 30 marks, correct, incorrect 14 marks. So 44 marks, we are going to fight with our blood, sweat, and everything to score 44 out of 44. All right. But when there are some points which can be asked only in brief answers, okay? If there are 5 points, 6 points, I am requesting you to by heart 3 points on an average. Now, what will happen if you adopt this approach? Otherwise, normally what happens, in the first 2 lectures, students are like, I will by heart everything. Yes, all the points. Yo. And then by the 4th lecture, 5th lecture, revision video, hey, revision video. So rather than doing that, please maintain realistic expectations. So whenever there are brief answers of 5 points, 6 points, 7 points, 8 points, promise yourself that you have to by heart only 3 points on an average. Now what will happen? MCQ correct, incorrect, we will try our level best of 44 marks, but let me talk about average preparation. Even if it is average preparation, all right, then out of 44, you score 35, 36 or so, correct? Or 30, let us say, worst come worst situation. But if you know 3 points of every concept in brief answer, then tell me, out of the remaining 56, can't you target at least 25, 26 marks? Yes or no, sir? I'm talking about a very average preparation. Huh? This is not the target that I'm setting for you, but I'm talking about very average preparation. Now, what happens is that students, what they do is, for 1 or 2 chapters, they are so powerful and energetic, they try to by heart everything, and then they start feeling the pressure. All right. And then they start skipping the chapters and the points. Don't do that. We are supposed to be jack of all. Yeah, the reverse proverb. Jack of all. You don't be master of one. You be jack of all. Okay? So from every concept, we are supposed to score some marks. In the brief answers, in every question, we should score some marks. If not full marks, at least some marks. And in MCQ correct, incorrect, we will have a full marks approach. So tell me, everyone, When you see 6 points, will you take the pressure of by hearting all the 6 points? No. If you are able to by heart, bonus. It is bonus for me. But if you're not able to by heart, promise me, will you at least by heart 3 points? Yes or no, sir? Yes? Yes. At least 3 points for sure. If you are able to by heart all the points, I will be very happy. But if not, don't take too much pressure. Yes. So everyone over here, what are the tasks that auditor needs to do? Obviously, he will verify journal entries. So whether entries in the books of accounts. Then auditor will obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. We will be discussing this word in great detail, but since this is the first lecture, sufficient and appropriate audit evidence, any information which will satisfy you, like purchase invoice, sales invoice and stuff. Manipulation, there should be no omission or duplication. So there should not, nothing that should be omitted and nothing that should have been recorded 2 times, 3 times duplication. None of the entries in the books of accounts has been omitted. And in the process of compilation, nothing which is not in the books of accounts has found place in the statements. All right. So no omission, duplication. Okay. The information conveyed by the statement should be clear. So the information should be very clear. Unambiguous means it should be without any doubt, without any confusion. So auditor is going to verify these things. Then auditor will verify whether financial statements are properly classified, described, and disclosed in conformity with accounting standards. And then at the end, the main objective of the auditor is whether the balance sheet is showing the real position and whether P&L is showing the real profit and loss. Correct. So that is nothing but true and fair view. So what is this meaning of the word true and fair view? It's a very big discussion, but since this is the first lecture, in short, true means the correctness of the amount. All right. And fair word deals with the presentation, whether people will be able to understand or not. All right. So the statement of accounts present a true and fair picture of the operational results of assets and liabilities. So there are 2 ways of remembering any answer. One is you just understood conceptually and you will be able to write. Other is you can take little bit help of the memory codes, mnemonic codes. Like over here, you can put JAMCAT. Okay. So journal entries, audit evidence, manipulation, CAT, clarity, AS, and true and fair view. Okay. Now from JAMCAT, by heart at least 3 points. Sir, but after hearing your explanation, we feel that we can by heart all 6 points. Then it is bonus for me. But minimum 3, maximum as much as you can. All right. Okay. So this is the task that auditor is going to do. And this particular point can be asked for 4 marks or 3 marks. And then there is always this definition of audit. I want a confirmation 1.1 and 1.2. Is everyone clear with this? See, this is a regular course. We are not going to run away with the syllabus, correct? So we need to do it properly. Whatever we are doing, we need to do it properly. Okay. Now, your focus should be like, okay, this is the concept, this is the question, this is the answer. So you should also understand it practically, but never forget that to reach practical life, first you will have to clear exams. So there has to be exam-oriented approach in every discussion. Okay? Okay. Now everyone over here on this point of objectives of audit. Come on, Rancho, listen, do objectives with me properly, then I will give you 5 minutes break so that you can relax. Okay. Rancho, what is the objective of audit? Rancho, to express an opinion on the financial statements after conducting examination of financial statements. Okay. Chatur. Now, in accounts, you have accounting standards. Okay? In audit, you have standards on auditing. So in accounts, you have AS. In audit, you have SA. Kaise? SA. Standards on auditing. Now, in the very first essay, your first AS is AS1. Similarly, my first essay is essay 200. So the first essay itself is 200. Sir, why such a number 200? That I have numerology and stuff that Babaji will teach you later. All right. As of now, just remember that first essay is 200. And in that essay, they have explained the objectives of auditor. Rancho, express an opinion on the financial statements. Chatur, look at this. Don't worry, we will do it nicely. I'm just reading it at once, but we will do it properly. As per essay 200, overall objectives of independent auditor. That is the title of the essay. In conducting an audit of financial statement, the overall objectives of auditor are, and do it properly. This is a very repeatedly asked 3 marks question, brief answer. To obtain reasonable assurance about whether financial statement as a whole are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error, thereby enabling the auditor to express an opinion on whether financial statements are prepared in all material respects in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework, to report on the financial statements and communicate as required by essays in accordance with auditor's findings. Relax, we will do it. Now, everyone, please come to the notes. Please come to the notes. So leave a line and write down second point. Sir, why second point? Listen. First point was definition of audit. Okay. Along with that, we did some fundamental points. Then officially you are doing the second point now. All right. Which is nothing but objectives of audit of financial statements. We are doing this in a technical language. Okay. So down arrow. As per essay 200. This is the short title of the essay. The long title is very long, so we are not writing that as of now. Standards I'm going to teach separately, but as of now, we are just using this reference. Overall objectives of independent auditor. As per essay 200, overall objectives of independent auditor. Now, what is the objective of auditor? Okay. Everyone, tell me. If you are appointed as auditor of Reliance Industries Limited, just imagine Reliance Industries Limited. My God, how much kg gold they donated now for their grandchildren? Okay, 300 kg. What was that? Okay. So just imagine Reliance Industries Limited, Ambani and its business. My God. Now tell me, do you really think that you can give a guarantee and sign the financial statements that not even a single rupee is wrong over here? There is no error or fraud. Do you really think you can give a guarantee on the financial statements of Reliance Industries Limited? No, sir. In fact, there are so many limitations also. As per Companies Act 2013, we are just auditors. We are not investigators. Our rights and duties are also limited. So there are so many limitations. Don't expect auditor to give a guarantee. In fact, I will make you feel this. Look at this. Look at this. This is the audit report of Reliance Industries Limited. Look at this. Look at this English. In our opinion, whatever we will do, we'll do it practically. Only then you will understand. In our opinion and to the best of our information and according to the explanations given to us. Wait, forget about the further line. Why they are using this phrase? To the best of our information and according to explanation given to us, we are taking a little bit of safety that, boss, I'm trying my level best, but I'm not giving a guarantee. I'm trying my level best, but I'm not giving a guarantee. All right. So that is why the English of audit says that while verifying, auditor should obtain some kind of convincing evidence. Although auditor cannot verify to such an extent that he can provide a guarantee. That is why we say that in audit, we need to obtain reasonable assurance. What is the meaning of the word to obtain reasonable assurance? High level of examination, but it is not a guarantee. All right. So we will write this separately, put an asterisk mark. No, we will not write this inside the chart. The meaning of the words we will write after the chart is over. But tell me, roughly you have understood what is the meaning of the word reasonable assurance? Listen, in detail, I will explain later on. But roughly, have you understood? Yes, yes. That we conduct a high level of examination, but it is not a guarantee. All right. Now tell me, I am examining the financial statements. So my main objective will be inventory recorded at cost or NRV, whichever is lower, right? Acha, inventory is shown under current assets, na? Yes. Okay. And if you have taken any loan against inventory, have you written it in the notes to accounts? Okay. So basically, what is my main objective? That financial statements should not be materially misstated. If you allow me to quote one simple dialogue in Hindi, all right, which I will also translate in English. So there is one nice romantic dialogue by Shah Rukh Khan that बड़े बड़े देशों में छोटी छोटी बातें होती रहती है. Yes. Sorry, these are English lectures. In big big countries, small things keep happening. Okay. So boss, financial statements should be free from material misstatement. Tell me everyone, financial statement should be free from material misstatement. Little bit of errors here and there which are not significant, they keep happening. Now that is normal, man. All right. So what is my main objective? To obtain reasonable assurance. Every single line should go inside your veins, you know, whether financial statements are free from material misstatements. To obtain reasonable assurance whether financial statements are free from material misstatements, comma, while conducting audit, if I find some fraud or error, I may investigate it, correct? Otherwise, don't expect me to do it as my main objective. That is why after comma, they are writing whether due to error or fraud. So conduct a high level of examination, but not a guarantee whether financial statements are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error. Tell me this much, at least you have understood, yes or no, sir. It is very important for me that you understand the meaning of, the objective of audit. No, without that, you can't go ahead in this subject. So to obtain reasonable assurance whether financial statements are free from material misstatement, whether due to error or fraud. Why I am doing this? So that I can express an opinion. So thereby, so what is the meaning of the word thereby? So after doing this, thereby enabling the auditor. Acha, now you can use this full line, because the other side of the chart is small. Okay. Thereby enabling the auditor to express an opinion on the financial statements. Thereby enabling the auditor to express an opinion on the financial statements. Okay. Now everyone tell me. Reliance Industries Limited needs to prepare its financial statements as per which format? As per Schedule 3 of Companies Act 2013. Have you heard about this schedule, everyone? Have you heard about this schedule? Yes. So Reliance Industries Limited needs to prepare the financial statements as per Schedule 3 of Companies Act 2013. And along with that, Reliance Industries Limited needs to follow IND AS, not AS. It is IND AS. You will study at financial level. So this Schedule 3 of Companies Act 2013 plus IND AS. See, I'm doing one rough working. You don't do this, please. Schedule 3 of Companies Act 2013 plus IND AS. If I just want to say it in different words, can I say this is the guideline applicable to Reliance Industries Limited for preparing their financial statements? Yes or no, sir? So if I combine Schedule 3 and IND AS, it becomes a set of guidelines which are applicable to the Reliance Industries Limited for preparing their financial statements. One more time. If I combine Schedule 3 and IND AS, it becomes a set of guidelines applicable to Reliance Industries Limited for preparing their financial statements. Will you agree with this English? Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. Then this in technical language, in audit technical language, this is called as AFRF. That is applicable financial reporting framework. What is the meaning of the word applicable financial reporting framework? The guideline that is applicable to the company for preparing their financial statements. Come on, say it with me, everyone. Come on. The guideline that is applicable to the company for preparing their financial statements. Now you will understand this very easily. So at one stretch, the objective of auditing is to obtain reasonable assurance whether financial statements are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error, thereby enabling the auditor to express an opinion on the financial statements, whether such financial statements are materially prepared and presented in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. I will not allow your marks to be deducted just because you don't know technical language. We will spend time behind technical language. Whether financial statements are materially prepared and presented in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework. I will make you write the meaning of applicable financial reporting framework separately. So here you had put single asterisk mark. Here you will put double asterisk mark. Whatever are the difficult words, we will write the meaning of that separately. So can you say it at once, please? Come on, yaar. It is my request that you should remember this properly. And for that, let us take joint efforts. So objective of auditing as per SA 200, overall objectives of independent auditor. While conducting audit of financial statement, auditor needs to obtain reasonable assurance whether financial statements are free from material misstatements, whether due to error or fraud, thereby enabling the auditor to express an opinion on the financial statements, whether such financial statements are materially prepared and presented in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. I want a confirmation. Is everyone comfortable with this language? Yes. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. Yes. Okay. So after, as an auditor, after I am done with this work, what should I do? Sir, retire in your life. No, 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 no. I have to write the report. No. After I found my opinion, I need to express it in the report. All right. So if you see this particular line, to report on the financial statements and communicate as required by essays. To report on the financial statements and communicate as required by essays and in accordance with auditor's findings. Okay, but this is the main line: to report on the financial statements and communicate as required by essays. Fine. So now over here, we need to write the meaning of the word reasonable assurance. So after the chart is over, you will put single asterisk mark and write the meaning of the word reasonable assurance. Reasonable assurance is, sorry, no arrows, just a minute. High level of assurance after conducting reasonable examination but it is not a guarantee. The technical word for guarantee is absolute assurance. Don't expect me to give you 100% guarantee. High level of assurance after conducting reasonable examination, but it is not a guarantee. Okay. Then we need to write the meaning of the word applicable financial reporting framework. I will be teaching this word in great details later on, but currently we are just doing some basic meaning of this. All right. So applicable financial reporting framework is nothing but guideline applicable to the entity for preparing its financial statements. Example, Schedule 3 of Companies Act 2013 plus IND AS is the AFRF of Reliance Industries Limited. Guideline that is applicable to the entity for preparing its financial statements. Example, Schedule 3 of Companies Act 2013 plus IND AS is the AFRF of Reliance Industries Limited. So now everyone over here, in this objectives of audit, this 2.1, 2.2, you can now write down notes. For 2.1, 2.2, you can now write down notes. Okay. Now look at this, everyone over here. Just let me finish off this particular paragraph. In order to achieve the above objective, auditor is expected to be independent and work with integrity. Integrity is nothing but honesty. Okay. And maintain an attitude of professional skepticism, questioning mind throughout the audit. What is the meaning of the word professional skepticism? Professional skepticism refers to an attitude. Since you have already done with this, I'm doing it so that we can finish it off faster. It is an attitude that includes a questioning mind, not a suspicious mind. Watchdog, not a bloodhound. Being alert to the conditions. Sir, why are you underlining this? Because these are the words that examiner will see and they will give you the marks. All right. So attitude, questioning mind, and being alert. Alert to what? Bomb, no, na, which may indicate possible misstatement. Possible misstatement. So we are alert to all possibilities. We don't assume that there is a fraud. All right. And we should critically assess the audit evidence. Examples of professional skepticism. Just think about this. When do you think that the auditor is going to bark? When do you think that auditor is going to bark? All right. Okay. Whenever there is a contradiction. See, if your parents are hearing the lectures on loudspeaker, I hope they are not saying that, okay, boss, you ask for refund of fees, this person is barking. Tell them auditor is a watchdog. Huh? All right. So audit evidence that contradicts. Whenever we see contradiction, auditor is going to bark. All right. Then whenever there is a doubt over reliability, auditor is going to bark. Like original purchase invoice, seems to be altered, manipulated. All right. There is a doubt over reliability. You see duplicate copies and no one is giving you the original one. Then auditor is going to bark. Whenever there is a possible fraud, omissions, missing documents, then auditor is going to bark. All right. Then whenever you feel that I need to do something more, I need to investigate this further, I need to perform more procedures than what is given in standards on auditing. When auditor feels like performing additional procedures, then auditor is going to bark. All right. Listen. After fourth line, please draw one line. From fifth point onwards, just put a question mark. We will do those lines later on. All right. I just wanted you to remember a few examples of professional skepticism. From fifth point onwards, it is a little bit more complicated. We are going to cover it later on. Not now, but later on. All right. So, 4 examples over here. Now, these 4 examples, they constitute 4 marks or 3 marks, correct? So 4 marks questions, they put it up for sometimes for 3 marks also. And let me put a code word so that you can by heart it. Contradict, FAR. R, F for fraud, and A for additional procedures. Contradict, FAR. FAR, contradict. All right. So these are the points when auditor is going to bark. All right. So now wait, you should not forget that we have done this from the textbook. So what you will do is you will go to the notes, because I know how students are going to react. He has given everything in the notes. So that is no need to do the textbook. That is why nowadays when I do something from the textbook, I give a cross marking in the notes also. All right. So listen. In your notes, please come to this point, fundamental points in audit of financial statements. Okay. You see this attitude of professional skepticism? Yeah. Here you will write, refer page number 4 for examples. Refer page 4 for examples. Tell me, there was one more concept which we did from the textbook for which we have not written the notes. Okay? What are the tasks that auditor needs to do? All right. So please come to the first point, definition of audit. All right. Wherever you have space over here, okay, please write down. Either you can write it in the last line somewhere over here before you start the next concept. All right. Refer point 1.2 for tasks to be done by auditor. Point number 1.2, page number 4. This is just a reminder of the points we have done from the textbook. So even if you are going through the notes, you should be very clear, okay, this was done from the textbook. Okay. Otherwise, I feel like you will end up skipping the points. Okay? Okay. All right. All right. So we are continuing with our discussion. Now, I have been saying this, since last 15, 20 minutes, that auditing is a reasonable assurance. You don't expect us, you don't expect from me that I'm going to give you a guarantee. All right. Now we need to get into details. Why so? Why you can't expect an auditor to provide a guarantee? All right. So please ensure that you are doing proper notes writing. Your first point was definition. Then after that, you wrote some fundamental points. Then you wrote second point as objectives of audit. All right. And then now write down third point. Auditor cannot provide absolute assurance, that is a guarantee. Auditor cannot provide absolute assurance, that is a guarantee, because auditing suffers from, and now if you write with a different ink, I will be happy. Auditing suffers from inherent limitations. Now, what do you understand by this word inherent limitations? All right. Inherent limitations is nothing but unavoidable limitations. All right. Okay. I can't run for full speed. I can't run at a full speed for 5 minutes. That is my limitation. Correct. That is not inherent limitation. I can still try to reduce this limitation. I can reduce my weight. I can try to improve it. But no human can run at full speed for 70 kilometers. Sir, no matter how fittest you are, but every human suffers from some kind of inherent limitations. Please understand the difference between the word limitations and inherent limitations. Limitation is something that you may still be able to overcome, you may still be able to avoid, you may still be able to reduce. Inherent limitation is a point where you are helpless, where even though you may try your level best, but still you cannot avoid it. So that is unavoidable, inescapable. You cannot reduce it beyond a certain extent. And that is the meaning of the word inherent limitations. Today, I will prove it to you that even auditing suffers from inherent limitations. All right. And what are those inherent limitations? You need to be convinced by my explanation. Only then we are going to enjoy this. All right. Down arrow. These inherent limitations are okay. First of all, tell me if you are conducting audit of a very small company. All right, not a very large company, very small company. Still, can you give me a guarantee on the provision for doubtful debts figure? Can you give me a guarantee on that? No. Can you give me a guarantee on the contingent liabilities that, okay, this will remain contingent only and they will not convert into actual liabilities? No. Can you give me a guarantee on the estimates, on depreciation, on provision entries? No, sir. Because, sir, no matter how much ever we verify, even we put 24 hours, all the 24 hours in a day for verifying that particular item, still, no one can give guarantee on estimates because they are dependent upon judgment of the management. It can be uncertain. The actual outcome can be different. All right. Either intentionally or unintentionally, management may either under recognize or over recognize those items. And we are helpless because beyond a certain point, no one can give guarantee for verification of estimates. Are you getting my point and are you convinced with this? Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. So what can auditor do over here? He is helpless because the nature of financial statements is such. No matter whichever entity's financial statement you take, there are always some judgment estimates. All right. There are items recognized. See, students, there will be total 4 points. Huh? Okay. So accordingly, you should know the space management. There are items recognized based on estimates. And judgment. Now, when there are items recognized based upon estimates, judgment, all right, obviously, there is going to be an uncertainty. Actual outcome may differ. There are going to be different judgments, different range of interpretations. All right. And no one can give a guarantee on this. Right? Auditor cannot obtain a conclusive evidence. Sir, what is the meaning of the word conclusive evidence? Conclusive evidence means 100% proof. There is no doubt at all. Normally for these items, listen to my English carefully. Normally for these items, auditor can obtain a convincing evidence, but not a conclusive evidence. Nice difference. Auditor can obtain a convincing evidence, but not a conclusive evidence. All right. Okay. So first point, is everyone convinced with this? Yes, sir. All right. Because of this, we cannot provide a guarantee. Now, yes. So students are writing notes, but I'll wait. Now, the next point. You know, these ministers, they keep on saying, auditor is responsible, auditor is responsible, auditor is responsible. Chartered accountants are not doing their duty properly. Chartered accountants, array, with great power comes great responsibility. Then with limited power comes limited responsibility. Have you seen Companies Act 2013? The rights and duties over there. Let us talk about the rights. Auditor has a right to obtain information that is given over there. But what if management does not provide information? Then you can write it in the report. Nirmala, Miss Nirmala, you allow us to complain to Ministry of Corporate Affairs if management is not giving the data. You launch an investigation on such companies which are not cooperating with the auditors. And then you see the results. But if you do not give us great powers, then you can't expect from us that we are going to give a guarantee and stuff. Auditor is helpless over here. The nature of audit procedures are such, you know. The nature of audit procedures are such. You study Companies Act, you study standards in auditing, you will realize that auditing is not given the importance like investigation. Have you seen CBI officers, income tax officers and stuff? When they investigate, you know, people may have a heart attack also. But audit, it is not an official investigation. So boss, people do not give us the same importance. Right? So what can I do over here? There are practical and legal limitations. On auditor's ability there are practical and legal limitations on auditor's ability to detect misstatements. Best examples being auditor has limited legal power. Second, audit is not an official investigation. And one thing I will tell you in advance, when you will study standards in auditing and stuff, what is written over there, you know? After every few lines, you know, standards will say, discuss the matter with management, discuss the matter with management, discuss the matter with management. Are what if management and, you know, their main people who are managing the entity themselves are involved in fraud? Discuss the matter with management, obtain legal advice. Arey man, these are such petty powers. And because of this, there are practical and legal limitation on auditor's ability. When you will study Companies Act and standards auditing, you will realize this point. And when there are practical and legal limitations on our ability, then obviously do not expect us to provide a guarantee. I want a confirmation. Are you clear with this point? Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Then let me talk like a normal, common man. Time and cost problems. Yes. In Companies Act 2013 says, in the annual general meeting, audited financial statement and audit report should be discussed and should be adopted by the members. That means I should be done with my audit report and audit of financial statements before the notice of AGM is given to the shareholders. Because before that, I should be done with it. No. That means technically law has given me a deadline. You know what? In listed companies, Reliance Industries Limited, they need to submit latest their audited financial statements, within 45 days from year end. And extension of 15 days more, so within 60 days from the year end maximum. Okay? Now imagine the situation of the auditor over there. Because of such strict timelines, Do you really think we can cover 100% areas? Do you really think we can cover 100% areas? No, sir. And even if in a very limited time, I want to cover 100% of all the transactions, then I will need a very big team, resource. I will need so many experts, so many professionals. And do you really think that that much amount of cost and remuneration I'm going to get from the client? No, sir. Client wants auditors to finish off their audit in a reasonable time and at a reasonable cost. And because of this, auditors are not able to audit 100% of the transactions. So auditors will adopt a sampling technique. No, they will verify samples. They will verify 20-30% of the transactions. And when auditor is working on a sampling technique, can you expect auditor to provide a guarantee? Can you expect auditor to provide a guarantee? No, sir. So these are basic common problems here. All right. So everyone please write down. Normal link only you can write. Time and cost constraints. Time and cost problems. All right. So let us talk about time first. Auditor is expected to complete the audit of financial statements in a prescribed time frame. Auditor is expected to complete the audit of financial statements in a prescribed time frame. Second, let us talk about the cost. Like a common man, even auditor needs to think about the cost that will be incurred. All right. Auditor needs to conduct cost benefit analysis. Auditor needs to conduct cost benefit analysis to decide the cost to be incurred against the value of information. So two problems. Auditor is expected to complete audit of financial statements in a prescribed time frame. Auditor needs to conduct cost benefit analysis to decide the cost to be incurred against the value of information, whether I should incur this cost, whether I should give so much of time or not. And because of this, he is not able to audit 100% of transactions. So due to the above constraints, that means limitations, due to the above constraints, auditor cannot audit 100% of the transactions. And that is why auditing is a reasonable assurance. Don't expect auditor to give you absolute assurance. Okay. Done, everyone? Yes, this particular point, have you written? All right. Now, the last point, they have titled it as other matters, correct? But that is a very interesting point. Let me give you some examples. You will yourself feel that it is very, very difficult to find out the misstatements over here. Tell me, can you give me a guarantee on whether an entity will continue to be a going concern or not? Can you give me a guarantee on that? No. You can be a little bit certain, but you cannot be 100% sure. All right. You cannot give me a guarantee on the going concern and stuff. Okay. You can verify that, yes, the entity has a reasonable business. They may continue for the next 12 months, next year also, but you can't give me a guarantee. Yes, Pragna. Second, Tell me if there is a fraud involving senior management. Senior people are involved in a fraud. Do you really think it is easy to find out such fraud? Do you really think it is easy to find out such fraud? No. Then tell me one more thing. Today, see, whatever admissions you take, correct? Whatever admissions you take, can I say that I have to pay GST on that? I'm a GST payer, thankfully. All right. So I have to pay GST on that? Yes. Now tell me, if I am suppressing your admissions and if I am not paying full GST, do you really think that I will do it very openly in front of my auditor? Do you really think that my auditor will be able to find out this particular non-compliance? No. Sir, you will fool your auditor. You will not show the real number of admissions. You will show a suppressed turnover to the auditor. Because whenever you want to violate a particular law, all right, no one does it openly. It is a very planned act, correct? Today, if you want to break a signal, all right, and if there's a police standing over there, you're going to just sit quiet. But there is no traffic police, you're going to break it very nicely and in a planned manner so that you are not caught. So 3 points: going concern, fraud involving senior management, and non-compliance with laws and regulations. People do it in a very planned manner. There is one more point. I give you a challenge. Go investigate all the corporate frauds. There is one common thing in the frauds. There is one holding company which will transfer money to its subsidiary. Then subsidiary will further transfer it to the subsidiary. Then that subsidiary will transfer it to some foreign subsidiary. Slowly, steadily, the funds will be moved out of India to a foreign country. You will see this common operational, circle. These transactions between holding, subsidiary and stuff, you know what? These transactions are called as related party transactions. And these related party transactions are one of the biggest problem in India after terrorism and climate change. The third biggest problem, if someone is going to ask me, I'm going to say related party transactions. All right. Because people do it in a very smart manner. So these 4 areas, what are those 4 areas? G for going concern, F for fraud involving senior management, then related party transactions, and then laws, non-compliance with laws and regulations. Very difficult to find out the misstatements in these 4 areas because it is a very planned act of manipulation. All right. So I'm just going to write the last point, and I'm going to give you a code word to remember that also, because the last point itself can be a separate examination question. So everyone, please write down. Other subject matters where limitations on auditor's ability to detect error or fraud are higher. Higher or greater. So there are some subject matters where limitations on auditor's ability to detect error or fraud are greater or higher. And what are those subject matters? Now, no one is going to laugh at this. Okay, you can laugh. That's okay. Listen. When my GF is related to my in-laws, I will never allow you to find out that, Going concern assessment. Then fraud involving senior management. Then related party transactions. And then from in-laws, you should remember laws and regulations, because laws, in-laws, they are the same. You violate them and they are behind us, So non-compliance with laws and regulations. So G for going concern, F for fraud. Yes, Pragnesh. Related party transactions, and in-laws is non-compliance with laws and regulations. Okay? So when my GF is related to in-laws, it is very difficult to find out that. I will not allow you to find out that. Okay. So someone has asked me to show it in one full screen, but I'll have to zoom in for that. Zoom out. Yeah. It's very difficult to get one screenshot for this full note. Okay. Because then you will have to expand it. But still, I've tried my best. Okay. So everyone, come on. The topic of inherent limitations. Never forget FACTO. Facto. Never forget facto. Come on. F for financial statements. A for audit procedures. C for cost constraints. T for time constraints. O for other subject matters. All right. So everyone, come on. I am revising it. Nature of financial statements. In the financial statements, there are items which are recognized based upon estimates or judgment. And because it is recognized based upon estimates or judgment, there is uncertainty. Actual outcome may differ. And that is why auditor cannot obtain a conclusive evidence. A for audit procedures, there are PL, practical and legal limitation on auditor's ability to detect misstatements. Example, auditor has limited legal power and audit is not treated like an official investigation. Then TC, cost and time. Time, people expect us to finish the audit in a reasonable time. Cost constraints, auditor always has to think about the cost that he will incur against the value of the information. And that is why auditor is not able to audit 100% of the transactions. O for other subject matters. What are those subject matters where it is very difficult to find out error or fraud? When my GF is related to in-laws. G for going concern assessment. F for fraud involving senior management. R for related party transactions, and in-laws is non-compliance with laws and regulations. It will be very difficult for you to find out the misstatements over here. And because of these inherent limitations, auditor is not able to provide a guarantee. Auditor is not able to provide an absolute assurance. I want a confirmation. Is everyone through with this? Yes or no, sir? Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to do a very important discussion with you. And normally when students do not do this, they suffer some problems in audit. Okay. This is a very good concept. Tell me, everyone. Let us say that, just an example, I'm writing it, you need not write it. Example, let us say that auditor CA Raju is conducting audit of X Limited for financial year 22-23. Okay. And the AGM of financial year 22-23 is scheduled in June 2023. Let us say 15th June 2023, AGM is scheduled. All right. CA Raju dies on 15th April 2023. Sorry, CA Raju. Okay. Death. Now, X Limited appoints CA Ali as the auditor of X Limited on 25th April 2023. Now, the deadline for submitting audit report is 15th May 2023. Because after that, the company will have to start sending the notice of AGM and all of that. All right. And let us say X Limited is a public company. All right. So it's not a very small company. It's a public company. Tell me, can I say CA Ali in this 20 days? Can I say CA Ali should do a crash course and finish off the whole audit of X Limited? Yes or no, sir? And CA Ali should, just verify 1 or 2% of transactions and finish off audit. And then he should give an opinion. Then later on, if Ali goes wrong, then Ali will say, listen, auditing suffers from inherent limitations. Okay. I was appointed as on 25th April 2023. I was supposed to finish by 15th May 2023. In 20 days, how much can I audit? That is why I just audited 1% of transaction and gave an opinion. Understood? Don't expect too much from me. Inherent limitations. Do you really think Ali is correct over here? Do you really think Ali is correct over here? No, sir. Can I say that Ali should have taken some time? Okay, I understand that there are inherent limitations, but this is an exceptional situation, boss. Tell me, because of cost and time, normally we try to take some alternatives, all right, to finish off in reasonable cost and time. But if someone is very sick and is going to be hospitalized, then that time needs to be given. Then that cost needs to be incurred. If someone is going to be hospitalized, you have to arrange the money. You have to give the time. So what I'm trying to say is that, okay, because of difficulty, time, cost, because of these reasons, we go for some alternatives. We try to perform some alternate procedures. But if there is no alternative, if someone says that you have to give 50 lakh rupees for this particular medical treatment, or else your relative will die, then you will arrange those funds from anywhere. You will give the time from anywhere because you know that there is no alternative. I am going to teach you a very simple line. But for that, I'm trying to connect with practical life so that you understand what I'm trying to say. That the matter of difficulty, time, cost should not be used as an excuse when there is no alternative. If there is no alternative, you will have to give the time. If there is no alternative, you will have to incur the cost. If there is no alternative, you will have to go through that difficulty. Are you getting my point over here, Dinesh? Yes. That the matter of difficulty, time, and cost is not an excuse when there is no alternative. Do you really think that Ali has an option of finishing audit in 20 days and just give an opinion over here? No, you can't conduct crash course like that. In this case, Ali will have to ask X Limited to postpone the AGM. Ali will have to ask X Limited that, boss, there will be some delay because you can't expect me to finish off audit of 300 crore rupees turnover in just 20 days. This is an exceptional situation. There is no other alternative. I want a confirmation. Are you understanding this logic? Yes or no, sir? Yes. So listen to me. There is one English line that I'm going to write. But for that, I want your focus. Okay. So listen. After your full chart is over, correct? In this time and cost, please put double asterisk mark and write down this. Just imagine your personal life situation. I'm sorry to say this, give this as an example, but only then you will understand this line. If someone is to be hospitalized and there is no other treatment, you will give that time, you will incur that cost. All right. Otherwise, you know that you will lose that person. So only with this line, people understand this particular English. The matter of DTC, difficulty, time, and cost, cannot be considered as a valid basis, cannot be considered as a valid reason to omit the procedure for which there is no alternative. Like if the doctor says that this particular medical treatment is required, or else the medical treatment will take 10 lakh rupees, or else with these tablets for 6 months, which will cost around 50,000, you can also finish off this particular thing. Sir, then please give the tablets. No, please. Huh? No. Because there is some alternative, which also gives good results. Correct? But when there is no alternative, you will have to take that difficulty. The matter of difficulty, time, and cost cannot be considered as a valid basis to omit the procedure for which there is no alternative. All right. However, sometimes what happens is that even though we try our level best, but we are not able to do the job. Sir, for example, come on, everyone. During pandemic, because of the lockdown, I'm sorry if anyone suffered personal loss during pandemic, correct? But I'll have to take this as an example because Institute is setting some questions based upon this. Okay. So during pandemic, if you remember, 25th or 26th March 2020. Okay. Normally in our audit on 31st March or 1st April, we go for physical verification of inventory. But we were not able to do that in the year 1920 because 31st March 2020 or 1st April 2020, if you remember these dates, we were under heavy lockdown. So what some auditors did was, now physical verification of inventory is very important. All right. So some auditors went for video conferencing. All right. But everywhere video conferencing infrastructure was also not available. So auditor tried his level best. He knew that there is no alternative. But can I say that we were all under government orders to stay inside our houses? Yes or no, sir? Yes, sir. So, okay, I understand that this procedure is very important. But what if I try my level best and still I'm not able to do it? Then at least you are supposed to highlight this fact in audit report. So full stop, continue. However, if it is impracticable, impossible, basically it's just not possible, impracticable to perform the procedure, then auditor should highlight such fact in the audit report. One of the very conceptual lines in audit, never forget this, that the matter of DTC, difficulty, time, and cost, cannot be considered as a valid reason to omit the procedure when there is no alternative. However, even after trying your level best, if you're not able to perform the procedure, then auditor should highlight such fact in audit report. I want a confirmation from every single student over here. Are you clear with this? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Done? Done. Now, everyone, let us just do some marking from the textbook. All right. Otherwise, we will lose the important effort that we have taken. We will lose the advantage of this. After this marking is done, we will wind up the session. Don't worry, because then next concept I cannot take it for a longer time. Everyone over here, please come to the 5th point, page number 6. Inherent limitations of audit. The auditor is not expected to and cannot reduce audit risk to 0 and cannot therefore obtain absolute assurance that financial statements are free from material misstatement. Yes, don't expect from me that I will be able to give a guarantee. Sir, what is this audit risk? Risk, listen, I have a 35 minutes discussion on the concept of audit risk, but that is much later. I'm just explaining it in short as of now. Audit risk means risk of expressing inappropriate opinion. Wrong opinion. So as an auditor, even I can go wrong, yaar. Auditor is not expected to and cannot reduce audit risk to 0 and cannot therefore obtain absolute assurance that financial statements are free from material misstatement due to fraud or error. This is because there are inherent limitations of an audit. The inherent limitations arise from the following. Now listen, you see the points over here? Yeah. I'm going to read this and give some markings. But if you are not able to remember this language, then you can do it from the notes. Main keywords, I have written it in the notes also. All right. So what is the marking for these points? Just write down. Read these points from textbook. But if it is difficult to remember, then you can write it from notes. Because the head point is the same that we have used. The content inside the textbook and the notes a little different, because in notes we have written the keywords. Read these points from textbook, but if it is difficult to remember, then you can write it from the notes. Okay. Nature of financial reporting. What was the main content inside this? Financial statements have estimates, judgment, and because of which it is very difficult to obtain conclusive evidence. The preparation of financial statement involves judgment by management in applying the requirements of AFRF to the facts and circumstances of the entity. In addition, many financial statement items involve subjective decisions, assessment, degree of uncertainty. And there may be a range of acceptable interpretations or judgments. And because of that, auditor cannot give absolute assurance. Nature of audit procedures. There are practical and legal limitations on auditor's ability to obtain evidence. For example, there is a possibility that management or others may not provide intentionally or unintentionally the complete information. There is always this possibility because of the practical limited legal powers that is relevant to the preparation and presentation of financial statements, or that has been requested by the auditor. Then the fraud, whenever they commit a fraud, it is so nicely organized. Fraud involves sophisticated and carefully organized schemes designed to conceal it. To conceal means to hide. Therefore, audit procedures used to gather audit evidence may be ineffective for detecting an intentional misstatement. Yes, in audit, normally we conduct a professional examination. It is very difficult to find out a fraud by performing audit procedures. All right. It is like playing cricket with a football. All right. Very difficult. Okay. An audit is not an official investigation into the suspected wrongdoing. Accordingly, auditor is not given specific legal powers such as the power of search, seizure, which the income tax department have, the CBI has. We do not have it, which will be necessary for such an investigation. So they have given some examples. Now, let me tell you, these examples itself can be a 3-mark or 4 marks content. Huh? So using these words and then these examples, it can be a separate question altogether. Okay. Next, timeliness of financial reporting and balance between benefit and cost. The matter of this, I made you write in the notes. The matter of difficulty, time, or cost is not in itself a valid basis for auditor to omit a procedure for which there is no alternative. However, if you plan properly, then you can do it even with limited time and limited cost. All right. Appropriate planning will help auditor in making sufficient time and resources available for conducting audit. They are saying that we should be very careful how much cost you are incurring behind which information, because information, if it is obtained at the right time, will give you the right value. All right. This just, they are using some more lines to expand. You need not buy at it. Okay. They are just saying that there is a balance to be struck between reliability of information and its cost. But if you write my notes language, it is already covered over there. Okay. Other matters that affect limitations of an audit when my GF is related to in-laws. In case of certain subject matters, the limitations are much significant. They are much greater. And the examples of these matters are, this itself can be a 4 marks question. You will not believe, final CA, July 21 attempt. First question, question 1A was about the inter-CA concept. Yes. Such a dhamaka, no? All right. Such subject matters include, because these are the points which you should never forget in your life. All right. Look at this, fraud involving senior management. There are 1 or 2 English words which you will not understand now, which anyways you will understand later, but I'm just explaining it. Collusion. What do you understand by the word collusion? Secret understanding between two parties. When you and your brother or sister have a secret understanding of fooling your parents, that is collusion. All right. So, secret understanding between two parties. Okay. So, fraud involving senior management. Then related party relationship and transactions. Non-compliance with laws and regulations. Future events or conditions that may cause an entity to cease to continue as a going concern. All right. So these are the points, and because of which, auditor cannot provide an absolute assurance. I want a final confirmation. Inherent limitations topic. Is everyone through with this? Is there a single word which you have not understood? Okay. Now listen, this full topic of inherent limitations, is MCBC. I mean, MCQs, correct, incorrect, brief answers, everything is possible. Let me show it to you properly. This nature of audit procedures. This can be a brief question of 4 marks or 3 marks. This other subject matters. This can be a brief question of 4 marks. All right. Then time and cost constraints. This point that you have written, this is so many times asked for correct or incorrect 2 marks. And which of the following are inherent limitations? Which of the following are not inherent limitations? That they can ask in the MCQ format. This is one of their favorite content for exams, inherent limitations of an audit. And they can ask all the 4 points also for 4 marks or 5 marks. For that, what they will do is, they will use these lines. Have you seen paper setting brief answers? So they will use 3-4 lines and then they will say, explain further, 4 marks. So they will use the relevant lines from the concept and then they will say, explain further for 4 marks. Okay, so that is all also they can ask. Full topic should be at the tip of your tongue when it comes to the topic of inherent limitations. Okay, so everyone over here, after the topic of inherent limitations, write down point number 4, at least give the heading. All right. We are going to discuss about very good discussion, again, a very practical discussion, scope of audit. What do you understand by the word scope? The areas to be covered. We have understood what is audit. We have understood why it is done. But how much am I supposed to cover? What is my boundary? All right. What is my coverage? The coverage. Yes. The areas to be covered. Extent of coverage. Yes. That is nothing but what? Scope. And that we will continue from the upcoming sessions. Thank you so much. Please do a little bit of revision of the notes that are given on daily basis. All right? Question bank and all of that I will do it later on. As of now, in the first few lectures, only the notes and a little bit of textbook markings. That's it. That should be a revision of 15-20 minutes. Okay. Thank you.